40 for Rateable Crest Titans.
The Trackrod Rally Yorkshire marks the season finale of the Jordan Road Surfacing BTRDA Rally Series. And with Matt Edwards sewing up the title on the previous round, this weekend arguably would be all about those other places overall. But, of course, this is one rally that all drivers want to take a victory on, particularly those in the local contingent. Charlie Payne leads the cruiserway, Stephen Petch next on the road. That local battle would be the one to watch this weekend. Hugh Hunter returns, hoping for better luck after his first stage retirement on the Woodpecker stages. Into the iconic Yorkshire Forest we go then, and it would be the early lead for Charlie Payne and Carl Williamson, taking a slim 7-second advantage after the opening 2 stages of the event. Things were starting much better for Hugh Hunter and Rob Fagg this weekend, ending the morning with 2nd place and with a bit of an advantage in that position themselves. Always good to have a bit of a comfort margin, but is there such a thing in a rally as close as this one usually is? And rounding out the podium places at this stage was Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson. It hadn't been a trouble-free run for them this morning though, spinning the car on the opening stage of the day, but they do hold on to a 23-second margin in that podium position. Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence make a good start to the event in the N4 class. There wasn't as many out this weekend, but the main contenders were there, and they held the lead after the morning stages. For Richard Hill and Max Freeman, it will be the early lead in the B13 class. The pair going well on the stages, opening up a small advantage in the class lead after 2 stages. And Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy take up 2nd place in N4 at this stage. This would still be enough to do what they needed as far as the championship was concerned, but the win was of course important as well. This class ultra competitive and nobody just goes for a finish. For Ian Joel and Graham Wood, it would be 2nd in B13, only a few seconds back from Hill up ahead and going well in that Escort Cosworth. 3 more stages after service and they'd be on a push for that class win. Pete Smith and John Millington get themselves up into the top 10 this weekend, ending the morning with 8th place overall, bringing the R5 Fiesta out for a run on Pete's home event.
That Avenger must have looked well gone.
For Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere, it will be 3rd in B13. The pair looking to secure 2nd in the championship for the class this season, and as far as that plan was concerned, things were going well so far. And rounding out the top 10 at the end of a busy few stages were Peter Bayliss and Anthony Blythe, 4th in that B13 class behind Hurst. So the morning stage is complete. It's a few different faces at the top. And with Matt Edwards and Paul Bird not out in the championship this weekend, we were certain of a new winner to add to the 2018 Roll of Honour. The question is, who would it be? On to the second half of the day then, and the results would take a shake-up. We lose Russ Thompson, Hugh Hunter and Peter Bayliss from our top 10, all before passing any of our cameras. The attrition continues. We'd also lose Matthew Hurst and Declan Deere in stage 6. They do pass a camera, sadly though, to go no further. So those changes would of course make a big difference to the results, and we see Lee and Craig Burgess stepping up to take third in B13 at the end of the rally. We'd also see the top of the Gold Star being hijacked once again by Silver Star, and even 1400 competitors, with Chris Powell and Jim Lewis leading the 1400s this weekend and actually rounding out the top 10 championship crews overall. Silver Stars Baz Jordan and Paul Wakely would end the event with 9th, a great end to the event for them and the highest placed historic crew in the BTRDA results this weekend. Bob Vardy and Keaton Williams meanwhile lead the way in the B10 class to the finish, netting themselves an 8th place overall finish as well in the process. And our leading Silver Star crew of Alan McDowell and Gavin Hesseltine would end the event with 7th in Gold Star. These two-wheel drive crews really mixing things up amongst the usually four-wheel drive dominated category. And speaking of four-wheel drive cars, it will be a slip to 2nd in B13 for Richard Hill and Max Freeman to end the rally, missing out on the victory by just over a minute. Pete Smith and John Millington get themselves a really strong finish with 5th place overall in the Gold Star leaderboard. That R5 Fiesta looking really quick. A great end to the rally for the pair. With the loss of Russ Thompson, it made victory for Pat Naylor and Ian Lawrence a little easier. Though they had, of course, led from this morning. They can't do enough to take the class championship win this weekend, but that result does give them 3rd in the championship overall for 2018. A fantastic achievement. On to this weekend's podium places then, and it would be a good end to the rally for Ian Joel and Graham Wood, taking the B13 victory as well as that final step on the podium. The points giving them the B13 title for the season as well. How good does it look to have a Ford Escort Cosworth back on the podium here in Yorkshire? Frustratingly, despite a heroic effort, there would be no victory this weekend for Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson. They'd have to settle for 2nd here on their home rally. But a result that does confirm their 2nd place overall in the championship for 2018. All of that, of course, means that for this weekend, it would be the Gold Star victory for Charlie Payne and Carl Williamson. They take that win by just less than a minute. Sadly, with only selected outings, it wouldn't give any significant result for the championship season overall, but perhaps a bit of renewed fire for a full campaign next season, we can only hope. So confirmation then of the final results here at the final round of the BTRDA Rally Series for 2018. That's 2nd place for Petz, securing him 2nd in the championship fight overall. Behind, of course, our winner from last time out, Matt Edwards. Silver Star in this weekend's BTRDA finale would see a number of regulars here to battle for those final championship points. And it would be an early lead for Alan McDowell and Gavin Hesseltine. A good result this weekend could get them a Silver Star podium for 2018. Another crew on the hunt for a podium were Andy Davison and Tom Murphy. They make a good start to the event as well, with 2nd behind McDowell. Only 3 seconds between them at this stage. It wouldn't be a championship position that Baz Jordan and Paul Wakely were hunting though, but they do have a good overall position this weekend to try and net. For now, the pair round out the podium places with 3rd. Damien Pratt and Johnny Evans make a good start to the event to end the morning with 2nd in B12, as well of course as lying in 4th on the overall leaderboard, just a single second behind Jordan. It was up to 1400 crew Chris Powell and Jim Lewis to sneak their way into the Silver Star leaderboard, ending the morning with 5th place overall, and of course with that result leading the 1400 class at this stage. Meanwhile, it will be a strong start for Bob Vardy and Keaton Williams, leading the way in the B10 class and of course in the lead of the R2 Cup as well this weekend. Just behind Vardy and Williams on the overall and on the class results were Tony Simpson and Ian Bevan, 2nd in B10 as well with that so far. Steve Black and Paul Morris would be the 2nd of our 1400 crews to get themselves up into the top of the Silver Star category. And they wouldn't be the last either. They end the morning with 2nd in the class and 8th place in the category. For Tim Phelps and Elwin Manuel, it will be 9th. The pair also taking 3rd in the B12 class at this stage, with their closest rivals up ahead in the category. And rounding out the Silver Star top 10 would be Dave and Freddie Brick, 3rd of our 1400 crews, and they'd of course be happy to be up inside the top of the Silver Star crews as well. In some of those places outside of the top 10 leaderboard then, it will be a 2nd in B11 for Simon Tuckman and Sean Hughes, ending the morning with 11th place overall as well. A couple of positions back on the overall results were James Giddings and Sean Cunniff, leaders of the N3 class at the midpoint in the rally and lying in 13th overall. Behind Giddings and Cunniff in both the class and overall positions were Matthew and Tim Tordoff, 2nd in the class for them and lying just 8 seconds back from Giddings. And with the B11 class fight at the top of the results, it would be up to Jeff Phelps and Pete Wilson to take 3rd place in that class going into the afternoon stages. Rounding out the N3 class were Neil Fulis and Steve Vary, 3rd in that class at the midpoint in the rally, as well as 19th place overall. So with 2 stages complete, it's a new leader at the top of the results, and with plenty more stage miles to go and only a few seconds separating our top crews, anything could happen, and it usually does here in Yorkshire. On to the second half of the day then, and there'd be no change for Neil Fulis and Steve Vary in the N3 class. They still round out the podium places there in 18th overall. For Christian South and Paul Hudson, it would be 3rd in B12 to end the event, gaining those positions in the afternoon stages after a bit of a charge. Frustratingly for Andy Davison and Tom Murphy, the podium place wasn't to be this weekend. They slipped their way down the results, salvaging a 13th place finish, but the result was still enough to bag them 2nd place in the Silver Star for the season.
He goes out that next arrow, you can see it. Flat mid over 100. Two left, continues for 60. Into 3 left, long, okay. 150, care ahead. Medium 7 right in. Medium 7 right in here. And flat 1 right. 130.
For Simon Tuckman and Sean Hughes, it will be a 2nd in B11 finish this weekend, and that would actually be the pair's first as well, and their last point-scoring round for the season. For Jeff Phelps and Pete Wilson, it would be the B11 class win though. Probably a little surprising to have that result at the end of the rally, but certainly and always a welcomed one. On we go to the top 10 then, and there'd be no change in that N3 class fight. Matthew and Tim Tordoff taking 2nd place there, as well as rounding out the top 10 Silver Star competitors. And that, of course, means that it's the N3 class victory for James Giddings and Sean Cunniff, a result that secures them the class victory in the season overall too. The top of the B12 class wouldn't change at all through the afternoon. Tim Phelps and Elwin Manuel ending the event with 2nd place in the class, 8th overall. Dave and Freddie Brick continue to round out our 1400 crews, slipping their way into the top of the Silver Star results, but the pair do move up to take 7th place at the end of the event. And just ahead of them on the overall and class results were Steve Black and Paul Morris. They remain in that 2nd place in the class to take 6th place overall. It's Tony Simpson and Ian Bevin taking 2nd in B10 this weekend and ending their season on a high, a great 5th place in the Silver Star. Our leading 1400 crew, Chris Powell and Jim Lewis, end the rally just outside the podium places with that remarkable result in the Silver Star leaderboard, taking 4th overall and of course with it, their class win. It will be a strong result for Baz Jordan and Paul Wakely, the season sponsors, taking the historic win in the Silver Star, as well as rounding out the podium places in the category with 3rd. For Bob Vardy and Keaton Williams, it will be 2nd, the pair also taking the B10 class win, and missing out on the podium places overall in the season as well, with 4th in Silver Star for 2018. But for this weekend, there was no doubting or indeed challenging that victory for Alan McDowell and Gavin Hesseltine. They take the number 1 place and get themselves enough points to take 3rd in the series this season as well. So confirmation then of the Silver Star results after a close and hard-fought day in the Yorkshire forests.
Oh, look at this.
This weekend's 1400 and Rally First BTRDA categories would see the regular contenders looking to secure those all-important season results here in Yorkshire. And it would be a good start to the Trackrod Rally for Chris Powell and Jim Lewis, certainly making up for the non-finish they had last time out and opening up a reasonable 26-second lead. Behind them on the results were Steve Black and Paul Morris, themselves off the back of a retirement on the Woodpecker stages, so this weekend's result would be a chance to put all those demons right. All they had to do, of course, was finish. It was victory last time out for Dave and Freddie Brick. This weekend, they were struggling a little by contrast. 3rd place was theirs at this stage, but they were a little further back on the times than they would have wanted or than we're used to seeing. There were, of course, still 3 more stages left to try and change that around. Kieran Darrington and Simon Jones continue to settle into Darrington's return to the rally stages. This weekend was starting well as well, with 4th, 24 seconds though back from Brick after 2 stages. For Chris Bush and Robert Smith, it will be 5th. The pair a further 39 seconds back from Darrington, but anything could happen this afternoon. How often do we say that in the BTRDA, and how often are we rewarded as well with the action that comes with it? Sixth at this stage would belong to Stuart Spire and Peter Williams, the 3rd of our Corsa crews on the results, and only 6 seconds back from Bush up ahead for the pair. There'd be just the 1 crew in 1400C this weekend, so that position would of course belong to Alex Holliday and Jane Wright, 7th place overall. It wouldn't be such a good start for Tommy Meadows and Emma Morrison. They go off the road on the 2nd stage of the day, ending their rally earlier than planned. In the Rally First crews, there would just be 2 competitors remaining by the end of the 2nd stage. Matthew Badley and Phil Kenny taking that lead position in the Corolla. And behind them were Mark Cox and Paul Gallagher, 2nd in Rally First, just over a minute back on the times though after 2 stages. So the results at the midpoint in the day certainly seem to be favouring those previous round retirees, but could they keep hold of that until the end of the event? On we go then to the afternoon stages in 1400 and Rally First. And indeed, there'll be no change to our Rally First leaderboard. Mark Cox and Paul Gallagher ending the rally with 2nd place. Of course, that means the Rally First victory this weekend, and to finish the season goes to Matthew Badley and Phil Kenny. That result securing Matthew victory in the championship overall for 2018. In the 1400 results, there'd be no change to 1400C. Alex Holliday and Jane Wright reaching the finish to take that class victory away this weekend. The loss of Chris Bush means a move to 5th on the leaderboard for Stuart Spire and Peter Williams, a result securing him 4th in the championship this season. For Kieran Darrington and Simon Jones, there would be no change. They end the rally with that 4th place that they'd held this morning, securing Kieran 3rd in the championship standings. For Dave and Freddie Brick, it would be that final step on the podium here at the Trackrod. Unable to gain any more time this weekend, but they didn't need to. This result meaning championship victory for Brick by just 2 points. Sadly for Freddie, it would be brother Toby who'd been in the silly seat all season, and that co-driver win would go to him. Back to this weekend's results though, and it would be 2nd place to end the event this weekend for Steve Black and Paul Morris, showing what they can do when the car works well. A great end to the day for the pair, but they will be ruining some of that reliability that they've seen this season, or lack of. But taking the victory this weekend were Chris Powell and Jim Lewis. They did all that they could for the championship, and even a maximum score this weekend wasn't enough to hold off Brick. Second place for the season would belong to the Sunbeam pair though, after a very close battle all season long, and capping their good season off with a very strong finish here in Yorkshire, which saw them up in the Silver Star leaderboard. So confirmation then of the results in the 1400 and Rally First categories this weekend. A great end to a challenging and closely fought season here in the BTRDA 1400 categories. If you fancy joining in the fun next season, competing, marshalling, or just getting out and spectating and enjoying some of this action close up, then look up the BTRDA Rally Series on Facebook or keep an eye on our social media for updates as the season gets ever closer for 2019. Thank you in the meantime for watching Special Stage.